Okay, so my name is Marcelo Kallmann. I'm a faculty member at UC Merced in computer science. Here are some of the main projects that we have going on there. So I work a lot on virtual reality interfaces for immersive environments, motion capture-based animation, and mainly on motion planning algorithms for animation and as well for robotics here. We have a center on autonomous and interactive systems where we're building infrastructure to support some of these projects. Here are some examples of this area of motion planning for animation in particular, where these are algorithms that will search for valid motions for complex tasks. So you see here, this virtual character, we have a model that is anatomically valid. So we have joint limits, rotation couplings on the spine, so that algorithmically you can pre-compute a search tree with using different methods. We use a lot of these sampling-based motion planners. And then later on you can put these structures in the environment and find a valid motion from rest posture towards annotated target hand shapes for manipulation in the environment. Of course, these methods are interesting for several applications, and we're looking into training applications as well. But originally, these methods come from robotics, right? You see here on the next one, application to a humanoid robot. And this one is an extension to plan as well the coordination of locomotion with manipulation. So it's very important to be well placed before you perform the actions. For this robot in particular, you have to be at the right location to be able to reach for the target. So very constrained joint limits. Now, this is applied for the robots, and if we just apply these methods for a virtual human, the results really don't look human-like at all. So we're interested to see how we can extend these methods for them to become more human-like, and that's where we've started working with motion capture. So here you see a very nice locomotion from motion capture, so it looks very nice. But we're using our algorithms just to plan the motion of the arm in synchronization with the motion capture, right? And then we can address all these dynamic objects, dynamic targets, and improve upon the captured motion. On this next example here are extensions again to not only plan a motion from point A to point B, but plan a specific type of motion. Here's a pointing gesture. So then we're applying our planners to plan a recombination of gestures that were captured in order to encode different strategies for the same action. So in this way, we can, for example, the original pointing would collide, and then the planner will seek a recombination from a database of strategies to address generic environments, generic targets. And then with that, to keep the original quality of the recorded motions. So on this motion planning side, one area that gets attention from games is still 2D path planning. So I want to make a contribution on new methods on these areas. So here's a work I've done on specific triangulation structures to capture the free space for arbitrary clearance path planning, so that you can share the environment for queries for agents of different sizes. There are many geometric interesting problems there still to be solved. This is the approach that was integrated in EA's The Sims 4 that is recently announced. For example, they tell me that this will be the first time they will allow the users to change the navigation mesh online, because before that they would have lots of robustness problems. And you know, robustness is a very well-known problem in computational geometry, and there are many ways to address that. So putting all these methods together, so that's an NSF project we had, where we want to plan motions for a virtual demonstrator. So of course there are applications in education for these things, right? So, and here the problem is, you know, the placement is very important. Where to place the character to deliver some information for the target object for an observer. And then we built a behavioral model from subjects where we would know exactly the orientation of the body, the maximum head rotation, and mutual visibility that we have to respect between the observer, demonstrator, and target, so that we can really have the character to convey the information in the best possible way. And of course, I'm interested on the motion synthesis problems behind that, right? But then to implement all these things, we need to go into the more behavioral models specific to the applications. So a lot of these things can be applied for training systems, and you saw using motion capture to improve the results, right, of our methods. We are exploring virtual reality immersive interfaces for facilitating the process of collecting motion examples. And the idea is, if I want to do a surgery simulator or training system, right, with the surgeons could go directly and record the examples of their specific procedures, like teaching that character of how to do things. And here is an exercise for physical therapy. And then later on, the virtual character would have the autonomy to teach others or to perform monitored training. Here's an example. So, and we're exploring different points of view or immersive solutions or large displays, doing also evaluation studies to see the right configurations of the system. That after demonstrating some motion, you can ask, okay, tell me how to do that action for that particular point. And these are examples on applying some of these things to physical therapy. Here on the right, for this application, they want a low cost, so Kinect-based tracking, and we have other problems there where we're trying to solve the noise of Kinect and limited field of view and things like that. But then we can let the doctors design their own exercise so that later on the virtual character can deliver and at the same time monitoring the performances and logging information, visualization of performance, how well you complied with the motions, adapting the next cycle of emotions with a different amplitude, and representing range of motion, pain regions, and all that. And again, so all these things are interesting for training, and these trainings can be implemented in a serious kind of application or could become more game-related applications. So I guess that's it. So that should make my 5 minutes.